Right, there we go. Hello, welcome to episode 426 of the Self-Help Podcast with me, Ed Lamb, my good pal, Sean Orford. How you doing, Sean?
I am doing very well, but unlike you, I have not been away. You've been away.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that. We are talking about holidays and COVID holidays this year, and what might have changed for people, and whether they are getting something that's good for them, a little bit different or the same, or who knows what, man. It's a strange old world, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah. I've got lots of people worrying about the traffic light system, and we've got 3 colours, but then we've got a colour plus 1 and a colour plus 2, and it's all getting a bit confusing.
It certainly is. Yeah, we'll come on to that in a bit. Livingthepresent.co.uk for all the show notes and links. For the new listeners out there, we do tend to put these on YouTube as well, as we're on all the usual podcast directories, which I don't mention as often as I should. So yeah, subscribe and all that kind of stuff as well, if you haven't already. But yeah, how you been, Sean? How's life for a therapist right now?
It's still busy, and I think we both need to take a bit of time out. I think that not having taken a proper break. I mean my darling wife and myself.
I forgot there's someone else in your life as well. I always forget that.
I think that both of us have been nose to the grindstone with a lot of difficult issues for 18 months and not taken our usual breaks that we take to recharge. And I think that we need to find some space, but like everybody else, which is relevant today, we can't kind of go away like we normally go away. We normally drive down to Italy or something like that.
Yeah.
And that isn't a possibility now. So the issue is we need to take a break, but what do we do in the break?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it then. Let's just dive into the episode. Well,
you just come back from being away, haven't you? So you've had a COVID break.
I have.
Because you have your country retreat to go to.
We do, yeah. I even got sunburned on a Northumberland beach on my back because I neglected to put sun cream on my back. Didn't think it was as bright as it was, and then my eldest son kind of alerted me to the situation. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we're lucky. We're lucky. I say lucky by design. We've designed our lives so that we have a retreat in Northumberland, the caravan that we share as a family. I mean, between my brother and sister and my mom and dad, so we kind of chip in and pay for it together, and we all kind of book our slots depending on when we want to go, and who's got kids in school and all that kind of stuff. And it's a spot that on a farmer's field that we've had since I was a baby, and in fact, I think we've had a caravan as a family on the exact spot since about 1960 or something like
that.
Right. Maybe even a bit longer, when my grandpa got a place up there. So it's been very well used, and
that's good. It's good.
And it's just an amazing retreat. And yeah, I mean, so that's the kind of holiday I had as a kid. We do go, or we have been abroad as a family, a couple of times. And, as once we reached 13, 14, or I did when I was a kid, we started going to France and, Mallorca and Menorca and all that stuff as well to kind of expand out a little bit. So yeah, we don't just go to Northumberland, but we are fortunate, that we've been able to in the last year.
Yeah. But it's like, how many people have been confined and that are used to going and jumping a plane and just going somewhere? Because I mean, people have been using planes like taxis for the last few years, isn't it? And it's dead easy to go anywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of the pandemic itself, the aviation industry has kind of helped seed that kind of and spread around the world quite quickly. It's not, I mean, pandemics have spread in other ways in centuries gone by, so it's not, you can't lump it all on aviation, but it certainly things get around a little bit quicker these days, eh?
Yeah, dead easy. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of this summer, we never really considered going abroad just because we didn't really want to worry about the hassle of deposits or losing money, that kind of thing. But I mean, you can go overseas. My neighbours have just got back from Menorca. They had a week there last week. and they said that it was good. It was fine. It was kind of the hotel was a lot quieter than they used to, and it was a bit kind of sad and depressing in some ways, and obviously the staff were doing their best to kind of make everyone feel welcome and happy and safe. You kind of couldn't get past the kind of lack of throng of people and the busyness that they, I think it's a place they're used to going. So it was quite sad in that respect. But they were safe, and the kind of all the systems in place at the hotel and the airport were pretty well run. So you can go overseas at the moment, and plenty of people are. But I mean, from conversations you're having with clients, are people really nervous about going overseas at the moment, or feeling guilty about it?
We've got the split. We've got the people that's it. I'm going. I've had enough. I'm off. And the people that are saying, well, it's all a fancy anyway. Doesn't exist. Through to people that are saying, I am not getting on a plane till at least 2023, or maybe later.
Yeah.
So I think that what that feeds into is people's levels of anxiety. The people that have had a bit of an anxious tendency in the way they approach life. COVID has been given them like a magnifying glass to look through, so everything can become much bigger, which is tough. But it limits a lot of people's abilities to do things. I mean, as the masks have come off over the last few weeks, are people rushing out to eat? Well, you've got the same split again. You've got those people that are not going anywhere near a pub or a restaurant, and those people that I can't wait to get in there. And all we can do is look at the figures and see what happens from here, really. And is it a case of we have to accept the fact that this is going to be with us, and there's going to be people that die from it, as there would be people dying from influenza? Is that where we're at? I don't know. And again, the doctors that I work with are split. Some of them are like, let's just get on with it, and others are like, oh no, this is going to be really bad. We shouldn't have released the lockdown, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, so we had a week away in Northumberland last week. We're going to be going back up later in August as well. We kind of try and stay off the beaten track quite a lot if we can. So, but you could tell, obviously, well, we drove up, so we were kind of conscious of not driving at peak times, because I think the motorways are chock-a-block, especially in certain parts of getting up the M6 to the Lake District. Everyone's home, so everyone's wanting to get there or down to Cornwall, that kind of thing. So trying to avoid the peak times was quite important to us.
Well, we have been involved in, because my car got written off in that car accident, about getting a camper van, which has turned into a whole story in itself. It should be here by the end of August, but the issue seems to be that the welder and his wife has gone away in camper vans, so that it's a bit of a madhouse out there. And I hear reports of the west coast of Scotland being like a traffic jam of camper vans.
Well, it was on the one show last night talking about the route that you were quite keen to do. That's NC 500?
NC 500, yeah.
A beautiful circular route around the Highlands and back. I don't know, to Edinburgh, maybe, that kind of thing.
It literally goes right the way around the coast.
So it was amazing. And I've actually seen people. I became aware of it a few years ago, because I think it's quite a popular cycle touring route. Obviously, you would need to do it over a much longer period of time, but it's chocker. So it wasn't all happy people on the one show. It was the happy stuff about the views and people enjoying it, but it was also people in towns and that are used to using the roads saying it's full of motorhomes, man. It's doing my head in. Don't know why I did an accent then. But hey, I guess that's all part of the fun. But in terms of like more general talk about holidays, this is the time of year we tend to do a podcast about summer holes, and for better or worse, we most of us have lives where we need to unplug and escape our lives for a week or two in the summer, for one reason or another. So that kind of leads me into thinking about the whole work-life balance stuff. But yeah, what's the general holiday advice you give to people?
Well, I mean, but most people need to take a break. They need to have a different feeling in the day. Now, weirdly, we both live on Wirral, which is known as the Insular Peninsula, that sticks out on its own. And even now, I know people that never leave Wirral. You know, they've grown up here. They don't go. I mean, if they go to Liverpool or Chester, it's like a big day out kind of thing. But the idea that you don't need to go anywhere on holiday. That okay, yes, you take a couple of weeks off work, but you enjoy living where you live. Now, I guess that's what happened before we had railways and transport and all that kind of stuff. People did stay at home. That was a PPE thing trying to get on my system.
Yeah, no worries. Carry on. We're okay.
No, I was guessing that people used to go away and do all kinds of things locally, but rather than suddenly, you know, we could fly.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the big thing, that people are really cheesed off by the fact that they cannot go to the sun. You know, that's what we do. We go and get hot and probably eat fish and chips and drink beer, but we go somewhere hot to do it. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, yeah, as I found last week, it is possible to get sunburn in Northumberland even. But and I will also say that it is. I went in the sea 3 or 4 times swimming. So in the North Sea, it takes a bit of getting used to.
A bit chilly, was it?
It's not quite the Med, and we didn't go snorkeling and looking at like tropical fish. But I mean,
when I was in the Middle East in Doha, if you went into the sea there, it was like getting into a hot bath. It was really warm, very, very different to here.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, whether it's just a kid thing, my son Will, my eldest Will, every chance when he sees a river or the sea in Northumberland, he's just t-shirt off, shorts off, and his undies, and he just jumps in. He's nuts. He's nuts, man. So yeah.
I take it he's a good swimmer.
Well, he's actually not, because he can swim, but he's not a strong swimmer, so I have to keep a close eye on him. But he just likes paddling around in the shallows, and you know, he'll get up to his neck and have a little paddle and all that. So something to be learned there from the kind of the innocence of childhood, hey, and just enjoy wherever you are in the world, you can enjoy yourself, right?
Yeah. I can remember being on a scout camp as a kid, and we were camping on the edge of a river. It was like a scout campsite, and this guy came down on the other side and took his clothes off, except for his underpants, and jumped in the water. And he was obviously quite dirty, and he had a bar of soap, and he washed himself and washed his hair and got out. And we all asked him what he was doing, and he said the house that he lived in didn't have a bathroom. So I mean, we were talking about the 1960s, so like he didn't have a bathroom. So he used to come down every day and have a bath in the river. I don't know what he did in the winter, but it was like,
wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, that's 60 years ago. So it's not that long ago. I mean, my mother-in-law grew up in Anfield in Liverpool, and they didn't have an indoor bathroom, toilet at least, so they had to go outside. And it's not that long ago, so we've come a long way in a short space of time, haven't we?
Yeah. But then it's the thing that's going on now about, have we come a long way at the cost detrimentally to the planet?
Well, yeah.
So the hot weather we're having at the moment, is that global warming, or is it a weather event? You know, there are fires and stuff going on in the world, but there would normally be fires going on in the world. Are they more? You know, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. The fact that you got sunburn up in Northumberland, I'm sure lots of people have got sunburn in Northumberland over the years, but we normally expect to go south to get warm rather than go north.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's a whole other chat. But yeah, there's some weird stuff and some floods going on that do seem to be a bit more extreme than have been. So yeah, I guess, yeah, I kind of, with my environmental hat on, I do look at it as at COVID and as a bit of an opportunity just to learn some new things, because I think nature will force our hands soon in terms of how we can holiday. Yeah, so I'm dead keen. We'll talk a bit in what our perfect holiday would be, but there's loads of places I want to see around the world, and without leaving a massive carbon footprint behind. So hopefully we can figure it out in time. But yeah, before we come on to our perfect holidays, should we talk a little bit about the pressure that holidays can put on families, or even are you finding that people that can't get away are kind of feeling trapped or kind of extra stressed that they can't have their usual 2 weeks in the sun?
Yeah, and the emotion that's coming out more and more is anger. People are angry, and they're angry with the government, and they're angry with COVID. They're angry, and it's because I want to do this now, and I can't do it, and I'm angry because I can't do it, which is kind of understandable. But in the world that we live in, you can't have whatever you want whenever you want to. It doesn't kind of work like that, does it? So
well, no, or it can be taken away from us quite quickly, can't it? As we found.
Yeah, and I think that there's the issue of depression. I've got quite a few people that are depressed, and that's built up over the time of lockdown. Some people quite seriously depressed and needing to be hospitalised and properly medicated and stuff like that. And I think we're going to get that for a while. But I think if people can take breaks, then they are going to ease their tension. But we have to get our head around other concepts of taking a break. The people that I know that have gone abroad, that have then had to foot the bill for tests and all kinds of things, have come back not feeling rested at all. And the other thing that I've got from people is people that have been places and they said it was a waste of time going because the whole place was locked up. That everything wasn't open like it would normally be, and everybody wearing masks and stuff. So and the people have said we might as well have stayed at home.
Yeah, it's worth looking before you hop on a plane or a train to go somewhere, whether just to check what the state of play is in that place, isn't it? Because there's a good chance that it'll be not quite what you'd hope.
Yeah, when you talk about there's places that you'd like to go in the world, that you want to do it with a minimum carbon footprint. When you imagine that, how do you see that? How would you be traveling there?
Well, so in fact, my resource, I'll link to a chat I had with a sailor a few weeks ago a few months ago on my other podcast. So I think, well, we can talk about carbon budgets and how much carbon you were allowed to emit per year. So I think just about a flight per person to kind of a European destination can fit within that for now. I think if I'm realistic, looking at what I've learned, I think a flight to the States is kind of off the cards, really, if we're kind of being honest about it. So getting to the States or getting to America, you're really looking at boats and probably a sailing vessel, really. Like if you really want to take it to the extreme. So I'm worried that I might never get to go to America again, and I'm really keen to, unless I get on a sailboat. But then trains are going to be our friend. I think we need to build the capacity for train travel, like fast. So you can't really get a train as quickly to Italy or to Spain, but you can get there in a couple of days easily, and you can even get a train right across through Russia all the way to China, and then you're into the Far East. So that I think I want to visit Japan like desperately at some point, quite in the next 10 years. So train plus a ferry when I get to China is how I'm going to do it, I think. And then that's a different kind of travel, isn't it? Because it takes a lot longer. You're talking like 2 weeks just to get to China, which for a lot of people's lives, mine included to a certain extent, don't really allow for that in terms of how much time you're allowed off work and all that. So it kind of starts to make you question the whole life experience and what it is we're doing on planet Earth, really, and how, you know, we've kind of built these kind of prisons for ourselves in terms of how much time we have available.
Yeah. And if you think about it, Australia is only 24 hours away. If you get your flights right, take you 24 hours and you're down in Oz. And we're used to that kind of thing. Now, I don't know what the carbon footprint of that looks like. Be pretty scary, I guess.
Yeah,
you know.
It's massive. it's unbelievable. It's almost
I would
like...
say what you could do is you could cycle up to John O'Groats, and you could get the boat to Greenland and then get the boat across to Canada. And then you could get the train right the way down through Canada and through the States and go that way.
Now you're talking. Yeah. I mean, amazing. These are like my dream trips. All my family's just arrived back. Hang on, we'll keep a lid on it. They've come back on the cargo bike. But yeah, we're talking about having to kind of realign and our lives massively to be able to do trips like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe that's what we need to do to kind of find that maybe that's what we need to do. We're all searching for happiness and what have you. That's what we need, hey?
I mean, my ideal holiday is to be down in the Italian lakes.
It's to where, sorry?
To be down in the Italian lakes.
Yeah, well, that's something that you've experienced many times, hey? So how are you feeling about missing out on that?
Haven't been there for 2 years now.
2 years?
And normally we'd go down there every year. So, you know, yes. But I mean, what's the carbon footprint? I guess if there's 6 of us in a vehicle, does that make the carbon footprint less?
It does, it does really, because you need to, it's all about that kind of per person budget that we have available to us. So yeah, it does.
Yeah, because that's my ideal place to go. I mean, I love the place, I love the food, I love the people. It's a really nice place to be, you know. And I had that feeling that I've come home once I got there. But I also accept the fact that maybe those kind of holidays will come to a close. You know, you can't just jump in a car and drive across Europe like I'm used to doing, you know.
No, I mean, electric cars are getting there, and I think you can just about do it on, there's charging infrastructure along the way. But
they say that you can go from Edinburgh to Madrid at the moment on the Tesla, because Tesla have got the infrastructure down. Now, whether that's true for other electric vehicles, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think it is, and it will be. And I think Tesla are going to be opening up their network to other manufacturers soon. So, And
one of the things that I was reading was that that people would have to charge their cars on the road at night, because if everybody charged their cars during the day, there would be blackouts because we can't provide the voltage necessary.
Yeah, possibly.
To maintain.
Yeah, I'm not too up on that, but I think that's going to be an issue as well. But train and coach. I think coach travel as well. It's obviously slower, but that's quite low carbon footprint just because of the efficiency of having that many people on board. So I'm really keen to get back to Mallorca, where we went a couple of years ago in a low energy way. And I think train plus coach and then a ferry from Barcelona across to Mallorca is the way to go. Because then, we get a couple of days in Barcelona as well, and just trying to make a bit more of a think about how much you miss out when you're flying over these amazing places or over the Alps. You can see it from the plane window, but there's a whole other world down there, isn't there?
Yeah, and maybe that's the issue of getting to where you're going. It's like, where do you go to get there? Because I mean, we when we started driving down through Europe, you can go all over the place. One thing that did amaze me was we had a couple of kids in the car going down, and I think we're going down to Lake Garda at the time, and they're in the back playing on their computers, and they're playing this game between them, and we're driving through the most beautiful alpine towns and the views and the valleys, and they just missed it all because they were on their screens. And they might as well have been in a plane or whatever because they didn't see any of it.
Yeah, you were missing out on that game. It could have been one of the greatest games, of all time. They were just.
It could have changed my life. Yeah.
Okay. So final kind of mention then about, because we talk about divorce season on this show being around after Christmas and post holidays. So Is there any way to minimize that, or is it like clockwork every year?
Well, I have a feeling that it might be different because we've had early divorce season this year because of people being together so long during COVID. And I wonder whether, because normally it would be September onwards that it spikes up, but it's already been spiking. But I wonder whether if people can take some time away together, away from the stress of COVID, that maybe they will start to sort themselves out more. So maybe this year we might see a reverse pattern.
Okay.
Where it's been spiking during COVID, and maybe in September it will start to drop off rather than take off. You know, let's see how we go.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that if it is happening, previously before COVID, and you were getting this spike after holidays, are people just having the wrong kind of holidays, or is it just?
No, I think that it's people spending time together. And not enjoying it, and then deciding, actually, I don't want to do this anymore. And whereas
just to say then, in some ways is that I'm not advocating like separation and divorce, but in some ways is that a good thing if it's taking that to make people realize, or are you always trying to keep people together? Or what's?
No, it depends on how you look at it, doesn't it? You could either say, well, divorce is too easy now. You know, you don't have to work at anything, you just cut and run, which is what a lot of people say and would criticize. And then there are the people that say, no, it's a really good thing. You know, you don't have to put up with anything. You can just say, no, I'm done, and just walk away from it. So I think it's very much the angle that you come at it from. And inevitably, people don't have to stay together financially now like they used to. You know? And that was one of the key things, particularly for women. They had to stay in a relationship come what may, because they had to raise kids and all that kind of stuff and have a home, which they couldn't get. But these days now you can do that. So
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah. I mean, some people like to escape work, and some people live to work, don't they? So we're all different, aren't we?
Yeah. So, and one of my things is, because I've been working online for the last 18 months, virtually all the time, I could actually be anywhere in the world working online. So,
beautiful. All right. What's your resource of the week?
Well, my resource for the week is, and it's about days out. It's a site that shows you lots of ideas for days out with the kids and other things. But it's like, if we are going to have to stay at home, when I was a kid at school, when you were fairly well off, you'd go on holiday because you'd have to write the essay when you came back after summer holidays, what we did on our summer holidays. So some people had gone to fancy places and other people had days out. Now, we often were the days out people because we couldn't afford to go anywhere on holidays. So we would have days out. We'd go somewhere, you know, Tower of London or whatever for the day, you know, that kind of stuff. And this is about kind of days out. What can you do around the country? Where can you go? Where can you take the family for a day out and have a good day? You know,
cool.
And maybe that's more of the kind of holiday that people will have in the future. You know, getting on a plane and going somewhere may not be an option, really.
Well, I know, and I've seen some beautiful old posters that Mersey Travel have been, or Mersey Rail have been sharing online, and other people about, you know, from 50, 60 years ago when, you know, a holiday was getting the train to Southport, or, you know, into North Wales and stuff like that. And it's beautiful. I got the train to Southport a couple of months ago to go do a bit of work there, and it did feel like stepping out into another world because the beautiful promenade there and the old Victorian High Street and what have you. So a bit of inspiration to take from that, isn't it?
But there are a lot of people from Liverpool will get on the train and go to West Kirby to go to the beach there. So
and New Brighton. New Brighton used to be a proper holiday destination and may well again soon be just that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. My resource is the podcast I did with a company called Eco Clipper, or the founder of Eco Clipper, and it's a Dutch sailor called Jorn, who is advocating mainly for transporting cargo by sail ships. But we also did have a bit of a chat about how I would get from the UK to the Americas, you know, via sailboat, and he was telling me the routes and how long it would take and all that, and how much work I'd have to do on the ship along the way if I wanted to get stuck in and help with all the rigging and what have you. Absolutely amazing. Yeah.
So when are you going?
Yeah, book me in for next year. Yeah. Sailing into New York
Cool.
Harbour.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Sean, thanks for that. We'll catch you next time.
Okay. You take care.
See you
See you
later.
now.
Bye.
Bye.